There's a special kind of pain that comes from betrayal. It doesn't stab you all at once. It's slow, like acid, eating through your trust, your peace, your love. I thought I had a good life, a decent house, a steady job, 2 beautiful kids, and a wife I had trusted with everything I had. But behind my back, she was building an entirely different life. And when I found out, I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I planned. This is the story of how I burned a man's life to the ground for daring to touch what was mine. Back in the early 2000s, things were steady, not perfect, but stable. My kids were just 4 and 6, sweet, funny, always bouncing with energy. I was working long hours and my wife had a part-time job, but something felt off. It started small. The kids started talking a lot about spending time at my wife's parents' house, which was weird because her parents lived 90 minutes away. Daddy, we saw Nana again today. She made cookies and we watched cartoons. And this was happening 2 or 3 times a week. Almost every day my wife wasn't working. I asked her about it. She smiled and said, "They just love seeing their grandkids. What's the harm?" But her smile didn't reach her eyes. She wasn't a good liar. She never had been, and my gut kept whispering, something's wrong. I decided to track the mileage on her car. Not GPS, just good old-fashioned odometer checks. And just like that, the numbers told the story she wouldn't. She was driving way more than necessary, an extra 400 miles every week. That's not just casual errands. That's someone making long, repeated trips. Now, I knew something was definitely going on, but I needed proof. Real, hard, undeniable proof. And then, fate handed me a gift. One evening, I sat down at the family computer, right beside the keyboard, a sticky note. Her email password, just lying there. Temptation burned inside me. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was a line. But when someone's lying to your face, what other choice do you have? I logged in. My hands shook. And what I saw ripped something out of me. Emails to her old college friend. Casual, gleeful messages about how she was hooking up with her high school ex, laughing about his wife, mocking her for getting fat after having kids. No guilt, no shame, just cruelty and pleasure. I printed everything. I wasn't ready to confront her, not yet. I was going to bury them both. I had a friend in law enforcement. I told him everything. He didn't judge, just gave me a number. Call Ron, ex-cop, now a PI. He's discreet and brutal. Ron was a blessing. I gave him the emails, the dates, what little I knew. He didn't ask unnecessary questions. A few days later, he came back with a full report. Photos, dates, times, locations. She would drop the kids at her parents', meet up with the guy, grab lunch, then head to a cheap motel. Over and over again. Same routine, same deception. I stared at those pictures for hours, not because I needed proof anymore, but because I was lighting the fire in my soul. This wasn't going to end in a conversation. This was going to end in flames. I told Ron, find him. And find him he did. His name was Bob, married, 3 kids, vice president of sales at a mid-sized firm, owned by his father-in-law. So not only was he a cheater, he was a coward, sleeping with my wife behind his own wife's back while living in a house owned by his in-laws. Perfect, I hired a divorce lawyer. And then I began to plan the destruction, not just of my marriage, but of his life. I waited. I needed everything to be timed just right. I had my divorce papers ready, Ron had extra copies of his report, and I had one last request for Ron. On the same day that my wife would be served divorce papers at work, Ron would personally visit Bob's wife. He would show her the full dossier, every picture, every detail, and then he would leave it up to her. That morning, I watched my wife leave for work with her usual smugness. She thought she was untouchable. I smiled. By noon, she was served in front of her co-workers. Clean, direct, and legally brutal. At the same moment, on the other side of town, Ron knocked on a woman's door. Bob's wife opened it. Ron introduced himself and handed her the file. He didn't stay long, but I imagine the silence in that house after he left must have been deafening. Bob's life exploded. His wife cleaned out their joint accounts, took the kids, left the house, told her parents everything. Bob was immediately fired, and because her parents owned the house he lived in, because they owned the house he lived in, he was evicted too. Within days, he was broke, unemployed, alone. But it didn't stop there. He tried to confront his wife, yelled at her. Her brother stepped in. Bob got his nose broken. Restraining orders were filed. He violated one, got arrested, then again, eventually jail time. His kids wanted nothing to do with him. His wife took over her dad's company. Bob disappeared from the internet, gone, like a ghost. My ex-wife, we finalized the divorce. We never talked about the cheating, never even argued. I didn't need to shout, the silence was louder. I stayed in my kids' lives. I was there for every school play, every scraped knee, every win, and every heartbreak. My ex, I tolerated her for the sake of the kids, but once they were grown, that was it. No more connection, no more communication. I don't hate her, I don't love her. She's just the woman who used to be my wife, and the reason I'll never trust so easily again. Revenge doesn't always come with fire and fury. Sometimes it comes with paperwork. Sometimes it comes with silence. Sometimes it comes with the cold satisfaction of watching someone's lies collapse under their own weight. I didn't throw a punch. I didn't scream. I just pressed a few buttons and made sure that everyone paid the price for the lives they destroyed. Cheat on your wife with mine, you lose your marriage, your job, your home, and everything you built. This wasn't just revenge, it was justice. And I'd do it again. If this story gave you chills or made you feel anything, heartbreak, anger, justice, then do me a favor. Hit that like button to let YouTube know these stories matter. And if you love real stories of revenge, betrayal, and powerful comebacks, click subscribe and turn on the bell icon. We post new revenge stories every day. Got your own story? Or want us to tell one you found? Drop it in the comments. We read everything. And remember, karma may be slow, but it never forgets. This was Unbound Stories, where justice always finds its voice.